used to play chess and realized there are lessons you can apply into your business. So let's take a look at it. First one is consequences. In business, just like in chess, you always want to think a few moves ahead. Don't just go for what seems easiest now. So I have this example to understand consequences in chess. If you never play chess, this might be a bit confusing, so I would recommend either watching some video on how to even play chess, because this might be advanced and you don't understand what's going on. For the people that know how to play chess, let me show you. So, you get into this position, first thing you see, with untrained eye, you can capture the knight with the pawn, which is always great, and then you just need to act. Even if you then don't trade a queen, you're still up a knight, which is good. So, you don't really think, you just do that, right? So, what happened now is you see this, you attack the queen needs to move, the queen needs to leave, the queen just needs to do something. But you completely miss this move. So what black does in this situation is just play bishop f2. And what happened is that this is check and the king has no escape square. So the king needs to capture the bishop, and after that's done, you just capture the white queen with your own queen and you're up a queen. You also collect the pawn, you attack the bishop. It's just great. As you can see in chess, it can cost you queen, it can cost you the game, it can cost you the world title. And so what to evaluate and what things to have in mind to make right decisions. Also in chess, for example, you always want to plan ahead. There are some rules you don't really want to break, for example, exposing your queen in the beginning because you want to develop moves. But this is not about chess, it's about business. So there are two main things to make the right decisions. First one is reason, second is environment. Well, the first one is goal and why. I'll start with these. So example in chess, become grandmaster, hit 1800 MMR, or just beat your dad in chess. Why? Well, you do it for a living, you like playing chess, you want to be the best player in chess. And then we have the environment, which is in chess, it's time. So do you play 1 minute chess? Do you play 1 hour chess? Do you play 1 day chess? Environment, do you have normal board? Do you have this weird long board? Or do you play without queen? An opponent, which is your dad, Magnus Carlsen, or you have two opponents. All these things change the way how you make decisions. Let's say you have only 1 minute to play the wall chess game. Well, you cannot even spend 30 seconds to make a decision. If you play 1 day chess, you always want to take at least 5 minutes to make a move, even if it feels so simple to do that. And so all these things matter and they impact your decision. Also, for example, with the environment, if you play on normal board, you play different openings or you play different way than if you play on this weird long board. Because doing something there with your pawns is probably useless because it will take ages to get to the second side. So what I would do is I would try to get my rooks into play as soon as possible. Another thing is opponent. If you have two opponents, you probably play differently than if you play against your dad. So let me now show you examples in agency where this applies. So let's start with the left side once again. Your goal can be $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue. It can be 10 clients. It can be $1,000 per year. Your why can be you don't want to work 9 to 5, you want to retire your parents, you want to have freedom, you don't want to go to school. Funny enough, it's not any of these, but to make it simple, let's stick to these examples. Time frame, pretty simple, 3 months before I go to school, or I'm working at the same time, so I have only 2 hours per day. Environment, can be dentist in Denmark, HVAC companies in US, solar businesses making 1 million plus in a year. So this is kind of your niche. And then opponent, if you can pause the video if you don't know what opponents mean. But in agency space, it's different because you don't really compete head-to-head against your opponent, quote-unquote, like in chess. So who is your opponent in business? Well, there are 3. First one is money, second is time, and third is your competitor. Funny enough, competitor is the smallest one, but people think competitors matter the most. Let me give you an example that explains the whole thing pretty well. You decide to make the perfect website, so you buy Go High Level because people say you will need that. And you want to have everything on one place. So you spend the first 14 days doing that. Now, because you want to make the perfect logo, which you can showcase on the website and social profile, you spend another 7 days on the perfect logo creation. And the remaining 7 to 10 days are spent on building all sorts of social profiles. So you paid $100 for the Go High Level, you spend 14 days to build website, 7 days to create logo, 7 to 10 days to set up all social profiles. Well, what's the result? No one from your niche even knows you are helping them with the problem you are trying to solve. Your friends maybe know you want to make $10,000 per month in the next 3 months because you told them, but that's about it. You have pretty website, pretty logo, and social profiles, which only you see because you have no traffic to these places. And because in the next 2 months you will change your niche 17 times, you will also change your website, logo, and social profile 17 times to stay consistent with your decision. So after 3 months, you get absolutely nowhere. You have only one thing that don't matter and you keep changing them over and over again without any actual results. So you lost $291 in 90 days. 291 is because you paid for the Go High Level for 3 months because you already have the website there to host it. Let's compare this to example number 2. You know that making website doesn't matter because no one will visit it at your stage and level. So you also buy Go High Level, but you make the ATP verification as the first thing. While waiting for approval, you build SMS campaign along with calendar, booking page, follow-ups, offer, simple sales structure, and you also gather leads to which you will then reach out to. As soon as your A2P is verified, you start sending SMS and booking meetings. That brings you closer to signing your first client. All of that took you just 30 days because you kept adjusting and testing things to find something where you are in KPIs. You spent also $100 for Go High Level. On the day one, you did A2P verification. For people that don't know what ATP verification is, it's just simple verification for people that want to say high amount of messages, usually marketing messages from purchase number. That's what you did on day one. Day 1 to 10, you create the workflows and automations and SMS sequences, you create your calendar, you create your offer, you create your sales process, and you gather some leads. And day 10 to 30, you get your verified reviewed. Obviously this can vary, this is just example, but you start sending messages. So the result, you sent over 1,000 SMS to potential customers. It required a lot of testing and changes in your offer, scripts, the way you follow up, the way you offer, and sales structure. You stay consistent with it and make decisions only based on data. You don't switch niche or problem you solve or business model. You stay consistent for 2 more months. So after 3 months, you book over 20 sales calls to which more than half showed up. You weren't able to close all of them, but you managed to sign your first client for 3-month term, $1,000 retainer. And you are now making sure to deliver. So you made $2,500 in 90 days because there are some expenses. So if you look back, the guy number 1 was $300 in 90 days. This guy made $2,500 in 90 days. But more importantly, you get all the knowledge, you get all the data, and you are just set up to make much more money in the future. So you building this website as a first thing is like doing this as your first move in chess. If you never play chess, this move is horrible. You never want to open the game like this. So 6 months from now, this is the guy that built the website. It's horrible. I would rather play with black than with white in this position. And this is the guy that did the outreach. Well set up, well developed. This is awesome position you want to be in 90 days. So back to consequences. I have a few examples in agency I want to say. First one is hiring the wrong people too fast. I see so many people that don't want to do outreach, hiring people to do outreach. And then if appointments are not booked, they have no clue how to fix that because they never book appointments on their own. So what ends up happening is they are trying to manage some people to do outreach for them rather than learning them on their own. What's the consequence of it? Well, you can spend like 3 months, 4 months doing absolutely nothing, or maybe trying but don't get any results. Another one is slowballing your offer. Let's say you start with $2,000 retainer. Well, you have like 3 sales calls and people always say no. Well, you panic. What you do, you go to next sales call and you say it costs $1,500 only. Well, another 5 people say no. So what you do, rather than maybe focusing on solving the problem or making your offer better, you just decrease the price. So now you need 2 clients to get the $2,000. And so after 4 months of trying and trying and trying, or after 3 months, I don't know how good you are, you're now offering like free or paid trials for like $300 and you need to sign like 7 clients to get to those $2,000 initially. So the consequence of it is you lose so much time rather than trying to build better product and create better offer. The last one is niche selection. So what people tend to do, rather than picking a niche, sticking to it and doing enough outreach to see if the niche is valid or if your offer is valid, what they do is they pick a niche, they send 50 messages, and then they hop into another one. After another 100 messages, they do the same. So after like 8 months, they tried 6 different niches and they get absolutely nowhere. So what they do, they start doing dropshipping, crypto, and all other bullshit. Consequence, once again, you just lose so much time, you probably even lose money. So always think before you act in both chess and business. Don't just consider the immediate benefit, think a few moves ahead. Second lesson I learned is second mistake is worse than the first one. Mistakes happen in chess, but what truly determines the outcome is how you respond. Blunder doesn't necessarily mean the game is lost. It's often the second mistake, the emotional reaction that seals the defeat. So example in chess, you lose a knight due to an oversight. Instead of staying calm, you rush and make another blunder like exposing your king or missing a winning counterplay. So visual example in chess. Well, first mistake is that you should have just captured the knight because now the queen can capture the pawn because it's not guarded. So that's what happened. Well, because you panic and you're so committed to taking this knight, you just do it. So that's your second mistake. Then the queen just captured the bishop and you see, wow, there is a free pawn and it attacks the queen. You just don't really think. So what you do, because you're committed into this strategy, you just capture the pawn, okay? And you miss this move where queen captures the pawn on g7 and you're just losing. For people that don't know this, this is a valuation bar which just shows who is winning, who is losing. And so in the position, oh shit, I scrolled. In this position, once you play bishop to f4, in this position, once you played bishop to f4 and then capture the knight, as you can see, that was the only mistake in this position. You had great opportunities to make the advantage. So rather than that, you can consider this move, which is knight to c6, which covers the bishop and also kicks out the queen, and as you can see, you are winning. So let me give you some examples in agency space. For example, sales call mistake, overcompensating. You fumble your pitch. The second mistake is because you get anxious, you start offering different packages or discounts which are unnecessary and kill the close. So conclusion, the prospect sees desperation and walks away, even though they might have signed up if you had stayed composed, or they just get confused and confused buyer never buy. Okay, simple example. Another one, churned client, a bad reaction. The client cancels your service because they don't see results fast enough. Instead of addressing their concerns and showing your value, you ghost them or get defensive, which is the second mistake. First one was probably you either set wrong expectations or you just don't deliver results. What's the conclusion? You lose an opportunity for feedback, a potential upsell later, and possibly can get a negative review, which for beginning agency is not the problem, but you probably could have kept the client if you just stay calm and talk with them like people. So what's the lesson? Mistakes are inevitable. What matters is how you react. Panic, overcorrection, or doubling down on a bad decision can turn a manageable mistake into catastrophe. So stay calm, assess the situation, and don't let emotions drive your next move. Mistakes aren't fatal. Bad reactions to them are. Your reaction to failure matters more than the failure itself. Don't panic, instead analyze the mistake, adapt, and improve. Just like in chess, one bad move isn't the end. You just need to adjust your strategy. And the last lesson is pattern recognition. So I have this big example in chess, so just bear with me. If you never play chess, as I said, this will not make sense at all. But this is position from Ponziani. Now let's say you play black and you get to this position for the first time. Well, what you see is free pawn, just capture it. White pushes the pawn, which is normal. Then you retreat the knight. And then what happened is white captures the pawn back. Now, black plays knight to g6 and attacks the knight, which is not covered, and you counterattack their knight with your bishop. And so what black spots, and because he's in the first position, he thinks that's the winning move, he plays knight to f2, which attacks the queen, attacks the rook, so it feels like you need to capture the knight with your king. And then, once you do that, you can get check with bishop, or you can just capture the knight for free. Well, what black completely missed was this move, and that's bishop to g6. It doesn't make sense really, right? Because you just lose your queen, or your bishop is hanging. What black does, because you don't have a clue what's going on, he just captured a free queen. And well, now in this situation, it seems like black is winning. But after just one single move, which is bishop to f7, white is completely winning. There are few moves that lead to checkmate or just winning the game on the spot. So pattern recognition is really important, for example, for certain chess positions, because you cannot really remember everything, but you can spot the pattern and know how to react to it. So let me give you a few examples in chess. For example, outreach pattern recognition. After 1000 cold emails, you notice that messages with a specific structure like case study plus pain point plus call to action get double response rate. Application, you now refine your outreach script and double your appointments. Just simply from that, because you realized, wow, when I include the case study, pain point, and call to action, I get 10 appointments rather than 5 from 1000 cold emails. So you do that. Simple as that. Sales call pattern recognition. You realize that prospects in real estate niche always have the same two objections. I've tried ads before and they didn't work, and I don't have time to deal with marketing. So the application, you can create primitive responses for these objections, making your calls smoother and increasing close rates. So the lesson is that success in business is about recognizing what works and doubling down on it. Just like in chess, the best players don't reinvent the wheel, they learn common patterns and apply them consistently. This is all I got for you. Let me know what other videos would you like to see. Have a nice one.